Wednesday thoughts. For some reason, I have a really hard time explaining this tool that I use in my practice a lot called Metacommunication. It's really meta. Join me on my way to work, by the way. I'm driving. It's really meta, and it's hard to distill, but it, kind of like you know it when you see it. So I really want to share this, but I'm having a hard time like distilling it into something that makes sense. Metacommunication just means communicating about communication, and communication, if you think about it, isn't just the words that are coming out of your mouth, but it's the tone with which you say them, the gestures that accompany them, the context of the relationship that you're speaking the words in, where you're speaking them. There's just a lot to communication, right? And so what we don't understand is all of those other things aside from the content of your words are also communicating something. An example, if you're texting with somebody, a dude that you met on Hinge, and they're not texting you at, a consistent interval, they're communicating something without saying something. That is, communication happens all the time without us saying a word. Metacommunication is talking about the nonverbal communication that we have with one another. Often it's the nonverbal communication that gets us tangled up in conflict. So, the person who is wondering about the Hinge dude who isn't texting, you could say something like, hey, I'm not really sure what's going on in terms of like the texting that, the texting cadence that you have, but I'm communicating it as you're not very interested, and I just want to know, like, if that's the case. I don't want to assume. That's metacommunication. You're communicating about the perceived communication. So there are other examples that I have about how this is helpful, how this can get you out of in relationships and communicating in relationships, because the number one question I get in relationships is, how do I communicate better with my partner? How do I communicate better with my parents? I'm an adult person. How do I communicate better with my kids? And metacommunication really is a huge key to that. And I teach it all the time. So, more examples to come. I don't know if recording something about metacommunication while I'm driving in the car is dangerous, but I'm hands-free.